All right, now a couple of earnings rolling in at this point. We'll be drilling down on some of the cement giants like Dangote, BUA Cement, Lafarge, and we'll also be looking at some of the brewers there like Champion Breweries. To help us unpack these latest earnings, we have Mr. Mukhtar Mohammed, is the CEO of Finance with Mukhtar. Join me right here in the studio. It's great to have you.
Thank you, Laddie. Always a pleasure to be here.
Happy New Month.
Yeah, Happy New Month.
Yes, and coming from a month that was supposed to be the theme color of red, which was February. The market closed in the green.
Yeah, well, that's love. That means Valentine love the market.
Yeah, it doesn't have to give you red.
It doesn't have to give you red is love.
Right.
And when we're in the market, we love what we are doing and we love to make money.
Exactly,
so
which makes it
February
positive.
was a month of love for the market.
So positive.
Very positive.
Outcome. So we have earnings now. Let's look at some of them, starting with Dangote Cement. And we're seeing revenue growth, about 62.16% year-on-year increase in revenue, 3.58 trillion. We're also seeing some strong performance across their key markets, like in Nigeria and Pan-Africa. So looking at that, it's looking quite good, but we see cost of sales there, that's up again. And it seems we should be expecting, or now we just expect cost of sales will be high for most of these companies.
Definitely, because of structural reforms in terms of the competition also added to that, and Dangote is expanding to other shores of Africa. So definitely, cost of sale is going up. Exciting result from Dangote, but as an investor, my own take is if I'm investing in a stock, I'm either investing for capital appreciation or for dividend payout. So, and then dividend payout by and by, what are the dividend yield? And what is the earning per share? Earning per share came to 29 naira. 29 naira, which is then dividend payout at 30 naira. That shows that they actually had to go to their reserve to get that 1 naira extra. That means earning per share is negative for the year end compared to what it attained last year. Dividend yield is about 6.22%. Will release at a price of 480 naira. So what that tells you is that for investors, that's not exciting news. And you look at the dividend yield via treasury, fixed income, inflation, that's not fantastic. But when you look at the entry, at what price did you enter, then that's when you begin to look at whether you've really made profit from Dangote. That's, for me, is where I stand as an investor. What comes to me, why is that stock exciting? But for an economic term, as an economist, definitely that shows that there is good news for the market, good news for the economy. Despite the cost of sale going high, you show that the cost of purchase of cement also has gone high. And that means that a lot of infrastructural development, which this government has prided themselves with, is working very well, and it's working in favor of that sector. Now you go back to BUA. You look at the dividend price, I think the dividend payment of about, is it 1 naira 70 kobo? If I'm not mistaken. I think it's 1 naira, is it? No, 2 naira 2 kobo.
2 naira 2 kobo.
2 naira 2 kobo for BUA Cement. You look at the dividend yield there, it's poor. A dividend yield of, I think, about 2-something%, which also, when you look at the price at 90 naira, commiserate at when this result was real, commiserate to other stocks, then you think, look, that's not an exciting place to be, because again, the result looks fantastic, but what comes to me as an investor, as an investor in that equity, is not fantastic. So, will I still be there at this moment? And you also must know that BUA has not been generous when it comes to payment of dividend. It has always had to retain a lot of retained earnings, which is fantastic going forward. But how much of that retained earning does it tip in to pay off investors that have been patient or have been long-suffering in BUA Cement? Lafarge then comes in there, okay, the last one also.
Yeah, revenue about 71.83%, cost of sales 76% up for Lafarge. Wow. And pre-tax profit 93.27%. And we're seeing the same trend.
The same trend all about dividend pay at 1 naira 70 kobo. Dividend yield about, it had the lowest dividend yield in that sector. So, and the Lafarge are coming in with new investors. coming into that space. So you have to also watch that space. Are these investors really going to be in the market?
Yeah.
Or will they delist?
The Chinese are coming.
The Chinese are coming. Will they delist from the market? Will they still be there? And if they are delisting, at what price will they be delisting? Currently it's selling about 70-something, 76 naira. So at what price will they be delisting? And what will be... They have not said they will delist, but we are just... When you look at the trend, so you have, as an investor, you have to look at all this trend to know if you are really interested in that sector. But for me, I think in terms of what we've seen in the cement sector, we have seen sale volume go high, but come with a lot of costs, which you are saying the cost of sale also has relatively gone.
And we see the price of the product is also high.
Yes. Now, if you look at the cost of sale, Bismarck said something about relativity in terms of gas pay, in terms of diesel payment, stability in the diesel payment side of it. But also you have to also look at most of these companies are not on the national grid. Most of them are not on the national grid. They provide independence power for themselves. That also comes with a cost. And then if you look at most of them, expansion is actually one of the greatest costs of most of this cost of sale going up, because most of them are not widely spread. If you look at the Nigerian concept, it just seems like the one that have the wider market in terms of space, Dangote cement. All others seem to be more or less like a regional type of sale. You see Lafarge in the southwest area, you get a lot of Lafarge. BUA also far north. Seems not to be so much present in the southeast and all that. Only Dangote seems to have that presence, and that presence is actually moving in this moving Dangote product in Benue State, and that's the cost of sales, the movement of those products are what are adding up to most of what you are seeing now. So a lot of factors are not working with.
A high cost of sale is not necessarily a bad thing.
No, it's not necessarily a bad thing, especially when it turns up to be positive in terms of profit. So it's not a bad thing, but again, you know what a low cost of sale would have done.
Well, that's quite good
for the market and in terms of profitability. So they are putting in the numbers in high cost, but again, you can imagine high cost of sale coming in there, then profit after tax poor. That could have been negative.
Right. So you definitely have to look at those relationships before judging. Their prospects now. So looking at these stocks now and looking at the industry. So far, what is it telling us, for 2025, for this industry?
I think in positivity, there's a lot of positivity in that industry. Remember, again, they still have the FX challenge.
Right.
So
the FX challenge still, even though there's been stability.
When people stop saying about stability, I heard Bismarck talking about today maybe we get the price at 1,510. I mean, so stability is when it's stable. When I say I come in next month, next week, next year, 2 years' time, 3 years' time, this is what I will get it. As it stands now, I keep saying it. The Naira is in a corridor of stability.
Corridor?
It's a corridor. If you look at that movement, it's in a corridor of stability. You see it today, it's 1,000. There was time, I think it was going for 1,490. It moved to 1,500. It moved to 1,560. It moved to 1,550. But you could see that.
But trading within a range.
Within a range. So we can't necessarily say the Naira is stable. When we talk about stability of the Naira, we're talking about when it happened last. That happened some years ago. 360 Naira for what we were saying about 3 years or 4 years before COVID. So we have not even seen stability since this current management came in. We've not seen stabilities for 6 months. We've not seen that relative stability for the past 6 months, considering that, okay, this is what the price of the Naira is trading. We have seen that corridor. We have seen, remember before now, it was a corridor of 1,750, 1,800. We moved to 1,600, 1,650. We have now moved to 1,500, 1,550. So you can see that there's a corridor at a particular thing, but we have not seen that stability for the next 6 months, for the next 1 year. So until we get there, that's when people like me will say we are not stable. For now, I think we are in that corridor. Hopefully, the way it's looking is looking good. It's looking good, but you talked about.
But are we seeing FX losses dropping for most of these companies?
Of course, we will. We have seen them already. I mean, MTN FX losses have dropped. Also, Nigerian Brewery FX losses have dropped. So those FX losses will definitely drop comparable to what they suffered last. Remember, at this time last year, like Big Smack said, we're having it at 1,900. So we are seeing 400 naira difference. That is huge. So we're even pricing that into some of these companies that suffer FX losses. It's already moving on to profitability already. So definitely, hopefully, we will see those reduction in FX losses. We're already seeing it. We will see it because we are not getting that high type of exchange rate volatility.
Right.
But we have that. We still have that volatility.
All right, let's look at one of the brewers now. That's Champion Breweries. We have their results out also. And we're seeing cost of sales, 59.44%. Revenue up 64.44% at 20.8 billion. Post-tax profit up about 120%. And gross profit, that's up 71.96%. So did the Dirty December play into...
Yeah, you hit it. Dirty December playing. You could see it all through the brewery sector. Nigerian Brewery, Guinness, you could see that Dirty December playing in, and those numbers are impressive. But again, you must look at Champion Brewery. You remember there was a point that Nigerian Brewery was part of the shareholder of Samsung Brewery. They said we're trying to divestment from there. Has that added to what we are seeing in terms of the profit? So that is what we have to also look at. But again, like you said, the brewery sector is exciting because again, that sector also suffered a lot of FX losses. And so we are now seeing, I think we are seeing a lot happening in that brewery sector. But like you said, normally December is always the time that you see the brewery sector come in with those impressive results. A lot of festivity, Dirty December, traveling, a lot of festivity.
Now, we have some festivities also coming, towards the early part of the second quarter.
Well, those festivities.
It's not as big, obviously. It doesn't come close.
It doesn't come close. You are talking about Easter.
Right.
Remember, before we were talking of Ramadan, they don't consume a lot of alcohol.
Right.
Then you're talking of Easter. People are fasting before coming to that place. So definitely that profitability will not be huge. But again, what we've seen in the brewery sector is that once it gets to that third quarter, towards the fourth quarter, that's when we seem to see a lot of momentum in the brewery sector. And that will continue. But let's see what happens between the first and the second quarter. Because once the first and the second quarters are positive, you normally see that growth in to the third, and then they are so excited that the fourth quarter will be more. Sometime what we see in the brewery sector, the first quarter performance supersede both the first, the second, and the third quarter in terms of profitability because of those festivity periods. So definitely it's exciting time if we are in the brewery sector. But again, like I said, let's see whether they can maintain that momentum in the first quarter where we expect sales not to be so fantastic. Will there be positivity? Then that's when we begin to say the brewery sector is out of the wood. Right.
All right, let's look at United Capital there, the group. They also posted their results recently. How did you see that one?
Larry, you need to see how investors reacted to the result. It was on full offer yesterday. But again, when you look at the stock in terms of performance, fantastic result. But investor perception now was, I think investors are not being fair on that stocks. Let's be sincere. That's a stock that gave as a 2-for-1. That's about 200%. And you look at the profitability they were able to pay, though they are paying, I think, 50 kobo. But we have forgotten that they paid 120 interim. So that makes it about 1 naira 70 kobo. It could have been fantastic. But again, you have raised the bar. So a lot of investors were expecting at least give us 1 naira. And so when they saw that 50 kobo, that response was very negative. And you saw that
they've forgotten the good times.
They've forgotten the good time, and that's what the market is of the perception. What's the good time? But again, you see that after some time, when investors really digest that result, you will know that there's a lot of positivity in that result. So it could be a good entry point for most designing investors. And I think we've seen that 10%. We might see that not happening today to that big point in terms of offer. Then you'll begin to see the price will be relatively stable, and that will attract a lot. I think it's a very fantastic stock. If you look at their antecedent, their records, and what they are doing and what they intend to do, then it's still a stock that I think investors should not take their eyes off, especially if you're a long-term investor.
All right, so I'd like you to also look into your crystal ball. in March, the March trading is going on quite fine now, but we started off in the red yesterday for the first trading day. So what are you seeing generally for the month of March?
March is the first quarter of the year, then the time where we expect the giant of the market. When I talk about the giant, we talk about the financial sector. That's when we see their dividend payouts. Once it's positive, the month of March come up with a lot of positivity. We are waiting for, especially the first tier bank, we are waiting for Zenith, we are waiting for GDCO, we are waiting for Access, we are waiting for UBA. So those are the key drivers of the market in March. Once those numbers comes in and start coming in and they are positive, the market goes very liquid. Sometimes it's already priced in, so it now spread a good entry point for new investors. Then comes with the unaudited first quarter result also that normally comes in the month of March. Immediately the approval of that result by the CBI, you begin to see those results. And most also companies in the exchange have that January, February, March as the grace period given to them by the exchange to declare their results. So most earnings, most financial year end audited report comes in the month of March. So the month of March is a very important month in the Nigerian stock exchange. So we expect a lot of results to come in the month of March, and that also determines the direction of the market towards half year and possibly full year.
Right.
So this is where you get value investors, traders, speculators, all begin to tickle what is going to happen going forward for the year. So fantastic month of March is where you see a lot of activities in the equity market. But sitting here looking at those crystal balls, when you look at first quarter, second quarter, third quarters, then of the banking sector, you are so positive that, look, the worst that could happen is what they paid last year, they paid again. But again, you look at the price last year and the price today, they are not the same.
Okay.
You look at the profit last year and the profits, there could be a wide difference. Then you're looking at payment. Then you're looking at some other banks also that will be coming to the market, and they want you to be excited to buy them.
Okay, just hold that thought now. I just need to sign this on for our DSTV viewers who are joining live coverage of ministerial briefing at the National Press Center, Radio House, Abuja. But you can watch this on all other platforms, but that's for our DSTV viewers right there. So, you know, definitely, I love the way you've unpacked most of these results, and you know how crucial the month of March is, you know, for this market. But we're seeing the financial services, the tier one bankers, they started off quite weak yesterday with profit taking. Is that some kind of direction, you know, we're getting, or investors just, you know, merely?
I think profit taking. If you look at where they start the year and where they are, and some of them were an all-time year high. All-time high. So a lot of investors are playing cautious. Like I said, sometimes it's pricing, sometimes it's not pricing. So investors are looking at some of this equity. What would drive it? It's going to be the result. So if I cash out at 48 and the result comes in and they are paying 4 naira and I want to go in, do I really lost? Have I really lost any money? Definitely not. Rather have gained. So it's the strategy. But again, you see that the price drop, you now see a lot of volume also in those stocks. That means a lot of investors also are seeing it as good entry point. So it's all about your investment perception.
Right. One man's exit,
one man opportunity.
Another man's entry.
So, but again, I think as we stand now, when you're looking at the number, the first, the second, and the third quarter, the banking stocks, especially tier one banks, are still relatively very cheap. PE ratio, dividend yield, profit after tax, earning per share, everything is green as it stands. So there's a lot of opportunities still in the banking sector, especially. Telecom sector also, we'll see the recent hike play out in the first quarter result of some of the telecom sector that is, especially MTN and Airtel. That also will mean investors will have to look at those stocks going forward. Consumer price index is high. So will we be seeing that in the consumer space industries? They have suffered so much.
Now with the rebased inflation.
Laddie, let's not go to that.
Let's not go there.
Let's not go there. But let's look at Commodity Price Index, which is positive.
Right.
And so that means that a lot of Nigerians' earning ability has improved because of cost of some goods have come down, by and by because of the cost of PMS is also dropping down. So it seems that there seems to be more cash in Nigerians to consume more. So it could affect that sector. So that is the positivity. When you talk about inflation, you definitely see based on rebasing, which only happened in Nigeria, because I've not seen any...
I guess the important thing is
I've never seen any economic terms that tells you that rebasing will help you bring down inflation. I don't see any CBM that is fighting inflation and is fighting inflation that, you know what, let's rebase so that we can get inflation comes down. Inflation came down.
But it's something we need to do every 5 years. Rebasing.
Exactly. But again, inflation comes.
Do it for the longest time.
Inflation comes down in the long term. I mean, in the larger picture, from 34 to about 24. But in terms of price of agricultural products,
it's definitely not as big.
That's not it. That nothing happens in those spaces. Inflation is still high in those spaces. We're talking about 40% for food inflation. All the inflationary figures were still high, but based on rebasing, the general inflationary figure was low.
Right.
But based on individual, in terms of house rent, in terms of cost of living, everything was still high. So you now know why the CBN, I think the CBN was boxed into a corner. Maybe they didn't expect that kind of figure. That's why they say, you know what? Let's hold rates. Let's hold.
I guess that's a good place to hold the conversation. Thank you so much. It was great having you. That was Mr. Mukhtar Mohammed, CEO of Finance with Mukhtar. Thank you for breaking down these important results for us.
My pleasure always, Laddie. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. All right, we'll take a break now. When we come back, we head straight to the global space. That's in a moment. Just stay with us.